So 2023 is over, and it was a pretty damn good year for movies. There was quite a big draw at the theater for concert films and movies based on video games, as well as the incredible double feature of Barbie and Oppenheimer. But now that the year is over and I've seen well over 200 movies this year, let's discuss the top 10 films of 2023. Number 10, Perfect Days. Only director Wim Wenders could make this quiet drama of a Japanese toilet cleaner compelling and beautiful. Kogi Yakusho is absolutely stunning as the patient and sweet Hirayama, an old man who doesn't talk much while on the clock. He lives a simple life of listening to classic rock while driving in the morning, and reading every night before he goes to bed. He's mostly mute, but not completely. He does talk, but he chooses his words wisely. Slowly, over the course of the film, with many of its routines, Hirayama's past is revealed, and also his philosophy on the nature of time and finding the best parts of being alive. It's an absolutely beautiful film, and Koji's performance is one of the best of the year. Number 9, Spider-Man Across the Spiderverse. Much like the previous Spiderverse films, Sony's animated Spider-Man films continue to be the most impressive of superhero films to date. And that's a huge compliment in a sea of superhero films that are overwhelming the cinema. As the sequel to Into the Spider-Verse, this film is more impressive visually for its mixing of mediums, and more enticing for its narrative about breaking canon and not being bound by comic book lore. Miles Morales asserts the film's compelling narrative of doing your own thing and not placing this film on a rigid track. It ventures into new territory and has a lot of fun while doing it as well. And it's just visually stunning. Just the animation just blows me away every time I watch this. Number 8, All of Us Strangers. As one of the saddest films of the year, All of Us Strangers follows Adam, a lonely screenwriter in London. He still hasn't gotten over the death of his parents and continues to talk to their spirits. At the same time, he forms a romantic relationship with his neighbor Harry. But it's a relationship he fears won't last as he drowns himself in a haze of grief, regret, and passion. In addition to featuring fantastic performances from Andrew Scott and Paul Mescal, this is a mesmerizing ghost story that finds a bittersweet acceptance of letting go and a fear of being isolated. The final scenes of Adam coming to terms with the passage of life are just so unforgettable for being so sad yet comforting at the same time. Number 7, John Wick Chapter 4. There's a lot to talk about with the seemingly final chapter of the John Wick saga. It's an action series showcasing the nature of revenge and how easily egotism and greed can drive a world of violence that all seem to be against this one guy. But really though, it's just a damn good action movie. Everything from the close quarters battles of a Japanese hotel to the incredible shootout amid the oncoming traffic of the Arc de Triomphe is just fantastic. It's beautifully assembled and exciting to watch unfold, featuring some of the most impressive set pieces and stunt work. I honestly can't stop thinking about some of these sequences for just how amazingly they're assembled and just how cool they are to watch in motion. This is easily one of the best action films of the year. Number 6, Killers of the Flower Moon. Martin Scorsese's historical epic on the Osage tribe murders of the 1920s is as engrossing as one would expect the director to handle this material. The all-star ensemble performances here are great, but the standout is clearly Lily Gladstone, as Ernest's disillusioned wife, Molly. But also special credit should be paid to Robert De Niro as the conspiring political player Willie King Hale. Even at 3.5 hours, Scorsese's film finds the perfect beats to showcase how the masterminding of these Native American murderers for their land was cruel, calculative, and downright grotesque at times. As a Western crime drama, Scorsese never loses focus and presents a deeply reflective and engrossing tale of America's darker history. Number 5, Anatomy of a Fall. Justine Triet delivers one of the best courtroom dramas of the year. When Sandra's husband falls to his death from their home, she is put on trial with the accusation of murder. This case is intriguing because it never delivers a 100% clear answer as to what went down. It's the investigation itself that becomes more unique as the layers are slowly pulled back on this troubled family. Sandra Hüller's performance as Sandra is incredible because she continuously switches between languages when being interrogated on the stand, forcing you to question why she uses some languages when she's trying to make this part of her case known. Milo Mikado Grainer as Sandra's son is also a highlight for being the more conflicted of witnesses trying to piece together this mystery. It is such an intoxicating film that had me transfixed from beginning to end. Number 4, The Zone of Interest. The concept of the zone of interest is simple enough. It centers around the seemingly mundane home life of a Nazi family residing a few feet away from a concentration camp. The sounds of gunfire and screams become muffled background noise for the family, trying to separate themselves from the horrors of the Holocaust. The film is so effective at being chilling without showing a single frame of violent torture and inhumanity. It's a challenging film that asks viewers how willing they are to accept this atrocity when it goes unseen despite being literally next door. The final scene is an unforgettable juxtaposition of the horrors of the past and how easily they become the quiet notes of the future. Number 3. Past lives. When you get older, you start having thoughts of what might have been. And this film explores those thoughts with the estranged relationship between Nora and Hei. The two of them were close friends in South Korea, and everybody expected them to grow up and be a couple. But when Nora's family moved to North America, they grew apart. Reunited after so many decades, the two of them catch up in New York City, but slowly realize that they're not the same people they once knew. It's a sweetly sad drama about accepting the passage of time and making the hard call of letting go of the person you used to be or what others thought you were supposed to be. This contemplative and tender movie beautifully explores the uncomfortable yet earnest realization of never being able to return to the places we've been before and the people that we once knew. Number 2, The Holdovers. Alexander Payne's sincere and hilarious film about lonely souls on Christmas was such a treat. Paul Giamatti delivers his finest performance as a grumpy yet astute professor who watches over a teenage student amid a 1970s Christmas. Joined by the school's cook, perfectly played by Davine Joy Randolph, this film quickly won me over with its characters, who are all sweet at heart and broken on the outside. It finds the absolute perfect beats of humor and drama, never letting all of one spill out in a single scene. The fact that Giamatti can easily go from sticking up for a student to calling an administrator the human form of penis cancer is amazing. Everything from the retro style to the graceful soundtrack left me with such a warm feeling by the film's end. So yeah, this is easily going to be a Christmas classic. And at number 1, Poor Things. Yorgos Lanthimos goes hard with Poor Things. It's a brazenly weird tale of Bella Baxter, played by Emma Stone, going on a fantastic yet grounded journey of learning about the world. The best way to describe it is as an absurd and horny version of Frankenstein. But even that description really doesn't do the film justice. It's a visually stunning film with the lavish costumes, exaggerated sets, and refreshing camera work. It's also wildly sexual, violent, blunt, and just off-the-wall hilarious. Like, Emma Stone is perfect in this film, but the performances all around are just great, especially with Mark Ruffalo playing a manipulator who goes from being suave to pathetic in the most laughable way possible. I found myself laughing hard at this film for its boldly eccentric nature, but I was also grinning a lot because there was such a freedom that this film had that you just don't see in a lot of movies. Like, think about it. This is a film with a fantastic cast that has Emma Stone flopping around penises, Willem Dafoe vomiting bubbles, and Mark Ruffalo performing the most ridiculous of dancing and horny whining. I love this film so much, and I can't wait to watch it again. So those were my picks for the best films of 2023, but before we end, here's a few honorable mentions for a few films that didn't quite make my list, but are definitely great films you should check out. Skinamarink, a deeply unsettling micro-budget horror that tapped into a long dormant fear that I've had since childhood of being awake and alone inside a house. Beau's Afraid, Ari Aster's offbeat journey of one man coming to terms with his life and his death that is loaded with as much intense anxiety as it does laughable sight gags and over-the-top performances. The Boy and the Heron, Hayao Miyazaki's supposedly final film. It's a bit more abstract than his other films, but it's also very thematically grounded about learning to move on and let the next generation build their own world. 1001, a deeply moving portrait of a family growing with uncertainty about the people who raised you and how they'll carry on another day. And it's worth noting for a magnificent performance by Teyana Taylor. Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. Judy Blume's popular and controversial novel gets the big screen treatment that it's always deserved. It's an endearing portrait of womanhood approached with all the blunt honesty and tender comedy that should come with exploring sex, menstruation, and spirituality. Beyond Utopia, an incredible documentary about the tragedies that come with trying to flee North Korea. Polite Society, a vivid and wildly absurd action comedy of a young woman who aspires to be a stunt woman, who uses her fighting skills to save her sister from the most sinister of marriages. Oppenheimer, an engrossing biopic of the existential dread and political fallout that came with Oppenheimer's development of the most devastating weapon of war. And finally, Barbie, a very funny... You know what, I don't have to explain it to you. Everyone's seen Barbie, you already know it's great. I shouldn't have to make a case for it here. So there you go, the best movies of 2023. And if you happen to have one that you feel that I left out there, be sure to let me know in the comments below.